Hi there, this is Chris, Pando Moto Legends. Today I want to talk to you about a new motorcycling pant from the Lithuanian brand Pando, and it's called the Triton pant. Pando Moto hail from Lithuania. We've known about the brand for quite a while and have offered some of their pieces, but their gear is not always right up our street. Stuff has quite an aggressive aesthetic, and when they shoot their clothes, the models tend to look a little bit thuggish. In fact, I think if you were doing wardrobe for the bad guys in an 007 movie, Pando's website would be a pretty good starting place. But some of their clothing is very nicely put together, and so over time we've been pulling pieces out of our collection to test and to offer to our customers. Not really quite sure how to categorise the Triton pant, not really like anything else that we offer. Kind of pant that does a bit of this, it does a bit of that, it's jack of all trades, perhaps master of none. The starting point, I suppose, would be its outer chassis. The pant is made from a cordura that's infused with stretch for added comfort. Stylistically, the pant of course makes a bit of a statement, fits something like a slightly baggy chino, there's a bit of stretch in the material has a matte finish to it. It's not the kind of pant that I suppose you'd wear to a meeting. It definitely looks more like a motorcycle pant than a formal pant. Yet it's got to admit it that it's way more comfortable than your average riding trouser. Triton doesn't have a traditional waterproof membrane, although the manufacturer claims that the pant is waterproof. We'll come back to that a little bit later. But the absence of the traditional membrane makes these pants particularly easy and light to wear. You also don't get a thermal liner, but the Triton just isn't that kind of pant. If it gets cold, you're going to wear something like a pair of merino leggings. The armour supplied in the knees and the hips, it comes as standard with armour for the knees and the hips, is L1 D3O, so level 1 D3O Ghost. The pant is rated A under EN 17092. But that's really what you'd expect, because this is a trouser that's aimed more at the urban explorer than the international adventurer. For carrying stuff, you get these cargo pockets on the thighs of the pants. Now, waterproofing comes courtesy of a spray-on TPU coating. This is far more durable than what is known as a DWR, a durable water repellent, which is what you get on just about every motorcycle garment. So on a motorcycle jacket or pants, you'll have the outer chassis, you'll have the membrane on the inside, either laminated or hanging loose, and then on the outside of the chassis, there'll be a spray-on coating. This is the DWR, the durable water repellent, and that's the first barrier to water ingress. And what it does, if I was to take a jacket and throw a glass of water over it, the water would pool and run off. So the coating, the TPU coating on these pants is far more effective than that, but not as effective as a proper membrane, a drop liner or a laminated membrane. The taping on the internal seams might create the impression that it was a truly and properly waterproof pant, but the specification would actually suggest otherwise. Now, demonstrating a degree of chutzpah, I suppose, Pando has published on its website the waterproofing and breathability scores for this trouser. And let's face it, any numbers that have got lots of zeros behind them sound impressive. Indeed, one video review that I saw of these pants said, probably as a result of those numbers, this is a truly waterproof and a very breathable pant. Well, the truth is that it's not really either. At best, it's quite a waterproof pant, and at best, they're a bit breathable. Pando quotes the waterproofing score of the membrane in these trousers as 10,000. Now, waterproofing scores are a measure of the height of a column of water in a tube 1 inch in diameter. The heights that can be withstood by a membrane before it starts to burst or leak. The score for a Gore-Tex laminated membrane is 28,000, and what that means is 28 meters. So, in essence, a membrane, a Gore-Tex laminated membrane put at the bottom of a 1 inch diameter tube that's got 28 meter height in water will not leak. 25,000 is considered by the industry to be almost entirely waterproof. 15,000 is considered to be properly waterproof for most uses. 10,000 is considered to be just rainproof. 5,000 is considered to be showerproof. So the 10,000 that's quoted for the Triton pant is not awful, but it's less than properly waterproof. But of course, this might be exactly what some people need. In fact, here in the shop, we do talk to a lot of people who are looking for a lightweight trouser that has some waterproofing. So they're looking for something waterproof enough to get them home, for example, if they get caught out in the rain. And for such people, it's got to be said that the Triton might just be the perfect pant. So that was the measure, that was how we measure the waterproofing of a garment. The measure of breathability of a garment or a membrane is defined as the quantity of moisture or vapour, what is known as vapour transfer, that can pass through a square metre of a membrane over a 24-hour period. The more moisture or vapour that can pass through the membrane, the larger the number, the higher the level of breathability. So, for example, a Gore-Tex laminated membrane will deliver a score of 25,000 grams per square metre. So over a 24-hour period, 25,000 grams of vapour can pass through the membrane. 5 to 10,000 is considered to be the minimum requirement for what is known as urban activity. Now the Pando score, as quoted on their website, is just 4,000. So that puts these pants in terms of breathability very much at the lower end of the spectrum. So, okay, they might be fine for riding on an average day, but I would say that they're not up for or up to riding in the hottest weather. And these pants certainly wouldn't be what you want to be riding in if you're riding off-road or working up a bit of a sweat. Now, the Tritons do have zipped vents here on the legs, and they've got another one at the back of the trouser. So they are going to help airflow through the pant. But the zips are not waterproof, so it won't take long in the rain for water to find its way in, both at the front and the back of the pant. And so, as Bike Shop always ask in their videos, who are they for? And the truth is, I'm not really sure. Indeed, I may have to phone my good friend Martin at Bike Shop to see if he has the answer, because normally he does. On their website, Pando show the pants being worn over a short boot like this, but also on the inside of a tall off-road riding boot. And I can understand why Pando have shown these pants being worn with an off-road boot, because I think that they're probably going to appeal to riders of bikes like the BMW Scrambler, the Triumph Scrambler and the Ducati Scrambler. But the width of this leg is far too narrow to ever go on the outside of an off-road boot. I think they will only really work with a short ankle boot. Now, of course, you could tuck the ends of these pants inside an off-road boot, which is exactly what Pando showed on their website. But I think there is just far too much going on at the hem here. You've got elastic in the hem, and then there are poppers and studs. So I'm not sure these are going to be comfortable for anyone worn on the inside of an off-road boot. Given all of this, we think the Triton pant would probably work best for the guy who wants to cruise around or poodle about. These are not the kind of pants that you're going to wear if you race around at high speeds. They are just not sufficiently strong. I think the guy who buys these pants is going to be wanting to make a style statement. They are a very stylish looking trouser. So the guy who buys a pair is wanting to say something about himself and his bike. The poodling or touring that I'm talking about, that might be in town, because I think these pants are going to work really well for the urban dweller, for someone running around town. But equally, I could see them being popular for the guy who pops out of the weekend, goes up on a Sunday morning to get a bacon bap or a coffee. You wouldn't, however, wear the Triton pants for commuting, because they're not sufficiently waterproof. You also wouldn't wear them off-road because, firstly, the leg is not wide enough to go over a proper off-road boot, and also because the trousers are not sufficiently breathable. You probably wouldn't go touring in them either, because their single A rating under EN 17092 simply says they're just not up to the job. The good thing about the Tritons, and I think it is truly impressive, is that they come in 4 leg lengths, and that's going to be particularly important for the armour positioning. In principle, by the way, if you're choosing a pair of pants for the motorcycle, you need to go for a length that's probably 2 inches longer than the length of your street jean. Now, the trousers cannot be shortened. They cannot be hemmed, because at the ends of the legs, you've got an elasticated band and you've got poppers, so they cannot be shortened. That means that the 4 different lengths are even more important. Which brings us finally to the price of the trousers. Now, at £330, they are not inexpensive. In fact, that puts them at the same level as a pair of Roker jeans. Clearly, they're not as protective as Roker jeans, although they are much more waterproof. But most people will not be, I think, comparing the two pants because they embody very different looks. If this is the look you want, there's nothing wrong with these trousers. We've tried to explain their strengths and their weaknesses, but the rest, I'm afraid, is up to you. If you'd like to see more Pando gear, then I suggest you visit the website motolegends.com. If you want to learn more about the Triton in particular, then if you click one of the links on the screen, sometimes they're up there, sometimes they're down there, that will take you directly to the dedicated page on our website. There you can check out the spec in a little bit more detail, you can check on availability, and obviously if you want to buy the pant, you can do that there and then. Now, when you do buy from us, we try to make the process as simple, straightforward and risk-free as we possibly can. There's no delivery charge on any item of protected wear that you buy from us. Returns are totally free, and what's more, we give you a full 12 months in which to decide whether you do want to return something to us. We have the best price promise in the business. Now, John Lewis used to be rightly famed for its never knowingly undersold price promise. We go one stage better. If you can find a competitor selling anything that we sell at a price that is lower than ours, we will beat that competitor's price by a full 10%. Now, there are a few terms and conditions associated with what we call our price beat. Nothing particularly onerous, I can assure you, but if you are going to price beat us, I suggest you visit the website and check out what those terms and conditions are. If in the future you'd like to receive bulletins from us about new products, then go to the website. At the top of every page there's a piece of script that says newsletter sign up. Click on there and within seconds you'll be in business. If however you prefer to get your information videographically, that is in this form, then we'd be simply delighted if you want to become a subscriber to our YouTube channel, and you can do that by clicking on the button below. Finally, I'd like to make mention of our fabulous little shop here at Moto Legends. We are based about a mile from the centre of Guildford, a mile from the railway station, and as I've suggested, it's a small shop, it's got a small footprint, but it's attached to our warehouse where we have more than £4 million of motorcycle apparel arranged over 3 floors. And technically that makes this the second largest motorcycle apparel store in the UK. But we think that we are far more than just the amount of merchandise we have here in the building. We are all about service, we're all about personal fitting. If you want to check us out, visit Trustpilot. We have the highest 5-star ranking in the business. And when you come to see us, we'll serve you only the finest Italian illy coffee, or we'll serve you a proper Yorkshire tea in a proper teapot. And if you're lucky, who knows, you might even get to sample one of our delicious motorcycle-shaped shortbread biscuits.